I said marketing matters in everything. Promotion matters in everything. And you're not going to get around that. That is what I said.
What I wasn't clear of is that for whatever reason, there's this narrative that I hate Caitlin Clark.
There is no way in hell you just accidentally left Caitlin Clark's name out of that soliloquy that you dropped about the Indiana Fever. Stop it.
You won't believe what Caitlin Clark just did. She turned down $10 million, that's right. The basketball superstar said no to a huge contract in Europe. But here's the crazy part. She's not just walking away from cash, she's changing the game for every player out there. Imagine this, you're offered a deal that could set you up for life, but taking it means leaving everything you love behind. That's the choice Caitlin faced, and her decision, it's shaking up the basketball world. We're about to dive into why she did it, and trust me, it's way bigger than just one player or one paycheck. You know what's crazy about being a WNBA rookie? The money. Let's talk about Caitlin Clark's paycheck. This superstar's set to make around $80K in her first year with the Indiana Fever. Now, $80K might sound pretty sweet, right? I mean, that's more than a lot of people make straight out of college. But hold up, because there's a catch. European teams were ready to throw millions at Clark. We're talking life-changing money here. Like buy your parents a house, never worry about bills again kind of cash. Some reports were saying she could have scored up to $10 million playing overseas.
I said marketing matters in everything. Promotion matters in everything. And you're not going to get around that. That is what I said.
If you're going to break a record, to me, if it's legitimate, you have to break that record in the same amount of time that that player said.
About what happened to Caitlin Clark, they'll be back in playoff action tomorrow against the Connecticut Sun in an elimination game.
That's not just a bigger paycheck, that's a whole different universe of financial security. But Clark said no. She turned down that fat European contract. Why? That's the big question everyone's asking. It's got basketball fans and analysts scratching their heads. Because let's be real, turning down that kind of money isn't something you see every day, especially in women's sports where the pay gap is still a huge issue. Here's the thing though. It's not just about the cash. There's more to this story. Clark's decision is shaking things up big time. It's got people talking about how the WNBA pays its stars, and whether it's enough to keep top talent in the league. Because right now, a lot of WNBA players head overseas during the off-season to make extra money. It's like having two full-time jobs just to make ends meet. Clark's choice is putting a spotlight on this whole system. People are asking, how much money is the WNBA really making, and why isn't more of it going to the players? The league's been growing, getting more fans, more TV deals. But are the players seeing their fair share of that success? It's wild to think about. The NBA, the men's league, has players making millions upon millions. But in the WNBA, even the biggest stars are making a fraction of that. And yeah, the leagues are different sizes, have different revenues. But the gap, it's massive. And Clark's decision is making everyone take a hard look at that gap. But here's where it gets really interesting. Money's only part of the story. There's something bigger going on with Clark's choice. She's not just thinking about her bank account. She's thinking about the future of women's basketball in America. By staying in the WNBA, she's betting on the league's growth. She's saying, I believe in this, and I want to be part of making it better. That's huge, because Clark isn't just any player. She's a game changer, a once-in-a-generation talent. Her staying in the WNBA could inspire other top players to do the same, and that could lead to real changes in how the league operates, how it pays its players, how it grows the game. So yeah, Clark's turning down millions, but she might be gaining something even more valuable, the chance to change the game for every player that comes after her, and that's priceless. All right, so Clark turned down the big bucks. But here's where it gets wild. What if staying in Iowa could actually make her more valuable than any European contract ever could? I'm talking about a different kind of currency here, folks, one that's measured in loyalty, love, and legacy. Let's break it down. Clark's not just some player in Iowa, she's a straight-up legend. The fans there, they're not just cheering for her, they're family. Remember that insane homecoming at Kinnick Stadium? Thousands of people showed up just for Caitlin. That's not just fandom, that's next-level loyalty. We're talking about a bond so strong it makes million-dollar contracts look like chump change. But hold up, it gets even crazier.
There is no way in hell you just accidentally left Caitlin Clark's name out of that soliloquy that you dropped about the Indiana Fever. Stop it. Well, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? That's why you should have had Caitlin Clark.
The woman who gives them a glimmer of hope that the WNBA won't lose $50 million this year like they have every other year in their existence.
Since Clark started lighting up the court, youth basketball for girls in Iowa has exploded. We're talking a 30% increase in participation. That's not just a stat, that's a whole generation of young ballers looking up to Clark and thinking, hey, I could do that too. She's not just playing the game, she's changing the entire landscape of women's basketball in Iowa. Now, let's talk about Clark's squad. Her teammates? They're not just people she plays with, they're her ride-or-die crew. Take Gabby Marshall and Kate Martin. These girls have history. They've been balling together for years, and that kind of connection, you can't buy that with any amount of euros. And don't even get me started on her coach, Lisa Bluter. This isn't just some coach-player relationship. Bluter's been there for Clark through thick and thin. She's not just teaching Clark about crossovers and jump shots, she's shaping her as a person. That's the kind of mentor you don't walk away from, no matter how big the paycheck. But here's where it gets really interesting. Clark's not just thinking about herself, she's looking at the bigger picture. By staying in Iowa, she's sending a message to every young player out there.
When we talk about league attendance, the Indiana Fever, all right, with Caitlin Clark, led the league in attendance both home and on the road.
What I want to clear up is that for whatever reason, there's this narrative that I hate Caitlin Clark.
You don't have to leave home to make it big. You can build something special right where you are. Imagine being a kid in Iowa right now. You're watching Clark turn down millions to stay and play in your backyard. That's not just inspiring, that's revolutionary. It's like she's saying, hey, we can make our own basketball empire right here in the heartland. This isn't just about basketball anymore. Clark's building something bigger than herself. She's creating a legacy that could change women's sports forever. By choosing loyalty over a fat paycheck, she's showing that success isn't just about how much money you make. It's about the lives you touch and the community you build. So yeah, Clark might have said no to millions in Europe. But what she's gaining? The chance to be a hometown hero, to inspire a generation, to build something that lasts. That's the kind of stuff you can't put a price tag on. And who knows? Maybe in the long run, that decision will pay off in ways we can't even imagine yet. Because sometimes the biggest wins in life don't show up on a scoreboard or a bank statement. They show up in the hearts of the people you inspire. You know what's wild? Caitlin Clark isn't just changing the game with her killer three-pointers, she's flipping the script on how players think about their whole careers. By staying put, she's showing everyone that sometimes the biggest moves happen right at home. Think about it. Clark's decision could be like dropping a pebble in a pond. The ripples? They might just change women's basketball in America forever. More top players might start thinking twice about jetting off to Europe, and the WNBA? It could see a whole new level of star power sticking around. But here's the kicker. Clark's impact goes way beyond the court. She's not just playing basketball, she's rewriting the playbook on what success looks like in women's sports. And that's a game changer for everyone.